This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to what my Injustice 3 roster would look like. And, well, this is going to be a pretty long video. I do need to warm up, what they've been doing so far, and decided on doing 52 characters, since 52 is a number commonly associated with DC, with the new 52 and more. So, really, when we're looking at the characters that I put in it, but also, since I don't know if its rumors are confirmed, this will be following the Blackest Night story. I'll also be doing what Lantern Corps some of the characters will be in, since part of it is them getting thrown into Lantern Corps. And I'm going to try to keep it very brief, because even if I spend a minute on each of these, this video is going to be like 52 minutes long. So I basically have, all these put out. I'm going to try to get it done in 30 seconds. And a few of them I have a bunch of, some alternate skins for them, and how those would play into the campaign. But I was mainly doing characters that would go well into both the Injustice universe, a Blackest Night story, and with it I also want to toss in a little bit of, some of the powerful beings are returning. Also, I'm pretty sure all these characters are still alive, besides the ones I've saved for, the Black Lantern Corps. So, everyone that's basically, up until I go to the Black Lantern Corps, remember somebody mentioning, there's a few, alternates, skins, will be alive and fighting against it. And I'm going to do this in, 4 sections. The first, which is about 17, I think it's 17, is Heroic. These are characters that will be more on the good side. The next 17 are Villainous, and that's, more of the evil characters. And the next page, which will be the last for the campaign and part of the main game, are members of the Black Lantern Corps. And finally, that brings us to 42. Goes to 52. I put in 10 people who I think could be fun DLC characters. There's one Mortal Kombat guest star. Not a huge Mortal Kombat guest fan. One more from a fan I just put in when it was popular. Well, someone I think is popular. The rest are a mixture of different Warner Brothers and DC properties characters. So, let's start off with my first choice. And my first choice is Batman. And the reason I chose Batman is because he's a main character in the Injustice story, and it's really his and Superman's story about them and their rivalry, and how he is, the hero and Superman has become the villain. And initially, I would put him in the Blue Lantern Corps of Hope. Decided to change it to the Green Lantern Corps of Willpower, since it needs a lot of will to go through the events of Injustice, Injustice 2, and the amazing tie-in comics, which I would recommend you reading. They're probably my favorite comics to read. And then I also chose Harley Quinn, and she's, such a vital character of the Injustice universe. I had to put her in, and she's in the Pink Lantern Corps, the love one, since nothing could be, defined by her love. Especially, to maybe the Joker and now to, being free. And I chose to put her in because, of course, she's important. I chose the Flash because both he's an important character in Blackest Night in the comics, and also, well, he needs a continuous redemption story, and in the comics he became a Blue Lantern, so I kept that here. The Flash could have 4 alternate skins, the Reverse Flash, and Wally West could help him, but since Jay Garrick and Bart Allen are both dead, they can come back as Black Lanterns for the campaign. I'd say Jay and Bart are more likely for, it being dead, so they can fight as Black Lanterns. But the 4 of them will be cool as alternate skins for the Flash. Green Arrow is less of an important character. Could be also a Black Lantern, but I think, of course, when the White Lantern stuff comes in, that can make things complicated, so we're just going to say he'll just be a normal Green Arrow and he will be an Indigo Lantern, since he is a compassionate character. Catwoman is another character that's, both important to Batman, and also kind of needed someone to fill the Origin Lantern slot. And since she likes to, steal and stuff, I just decided for it to be her. But she's also an important character to Batman, and the relationship is interesting. But yeah, I also needed someone for the Orange Lanterns. That's part of the reason. I also think Supergirl will be important. She's definitely part of this new, team being set up. And I feel like Indigo, with her being compassionate, is just a slight little bit better than Blue of Hope. But I think that either could work. But since we already have 2 Blue Lanterns, I went with Indigo for her. We have Black Canary now, and if we have Green Arrow, we have to have her. And yeah, I think that she'd be, another one of the Star Sapphires, and that's one for love, and she's a very loving character. I think that it's, good for her. I don't think I have any more lanterns up until the villains, but, well, the villains characters, well, let's continue on. Well, besides, the one that's actually going to say is a lantern, which is Hal Jordan, and his redemption arc needs to continue also, like Barry's. But also he's a key member and character in Blackest Night. We'll also take a look at some of the alternates, which will be, interesting. We have, well, Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, and John Stewart, who are all dead, so they could all be Black Lanterns. And what could be a fun alternate is Alan Scott, who is still alive, but was also out looking in the multiverse for our missing members of the JSA. And he will be horrified to see what happened to this world when he comes back. He left before Superman's fall. And he's also unlikely characters to be in the campaign. Batgirl was an important character in the comics. And for a choice of the one of Black Lanterns, I think it is fitting. Should be fun to return. And also I'm considering, DLC characters coming back. I don't think they can return as DLC for it, but they can return as main characters, and you'll see some of them pop up. My next choice is Deadman, but in the Injustice universe, Nightwing becomes Deadman after Deadman is killed in the Year 3 comic book. So I think it'd be really fun and unique to have one combined between, ghost fighting and, well, electric, is like more of the Nightwing based attacks. I also do have Robin slash Nightwing for later in the game. I'm talking in the villains. But I think it'd be such a fun inclusion. I want him in there. He's also a pretty big character in Blackest Night. And just face it, everyone wants John Constantine in this game. He uses magic, and he can be useful against Black Lanterns. He'll also be fun to play as, so he's clearly going to be in this game, just, because I think it'd be really fun. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Yeah, and then there's Plastic Man. I was doing some Google searches to see what other people were thinking, and he sounded fun. And I Google searched because there was no way I was making up 52 different and unique DC characters. I could probably get like 52 Batman characters, but we don't want a Batman-centric game. Plastic Man, which would be really fun to play as. And that's really it. I think it'd be fun to play as. He's one of the fun characters I put in. See, I think the Spectre would be so interesting. He's more of a cosmic being, and I put a lot of cosmic beings in here because I want to have. It'd be fun to have even a bigger, cosmic being like kind of side story. The Spectre doesn't have a host, I believe, since Mr. Bitsy Pillock took him over and drove Jim Corrigan insane. But I think him and a few of the other choices I put in here will be very interesting. And if you've read the comics, you may know who'll be coming with him since they're trapped together. Etrigan is in a very similar spot to the Spectre, and I think it'd be really cool to have him, especially since his host, Jason Blood, is dead. I think he temporarily was taking revenge in Batman's body, but that has changed, and I think it'd be just a fun, interesting, and unique character to play as, and could go into that side story I was talking about pretty well. I put Poison Ivy in here, mainly for her relationship with Harley. I think it'd be nice to have them together, and that's kind of the reason I have her in, just to have, his relationship with Harley, and did a few spots to fill, so I put her in there, because it felt good for her to be there with Harley, but that's really the reason I have her in here. Lobo's another fun character, honestly. It'd be really cool to have him in here. And he has worked with the Lantern Corps before, and actually was a Green Lantern in like an emergency situation. I don't think he should be a Lantern in this story, but it'd also be just fun to have him in there. And finally, for the more heroic ones, I put Deathstroke in. And I liked Deathstroke being in the first game. He's definitely, a lot less annoying than Deadshot. And since Ra's al Ghul is dead, I didn't really want to include him since he'd be similar to some other people I have. I think Deathstroke is a good choice to return. Going to the more villainous side, we start with Superman, who will be a yellow Sinestro Corps member, like he was in the comics. And since, he is such a key character in Injustice, it's really him and Batman's story. He has to be in here, and I find it ridiculous that some people online don't want him in the next game. Plus, he is depowered, so the Yellow Lantern ring may have to be what makes him get his abilities. So I'm guessing the Batman ending, the good ending, is the canon ending. Wonder Woman is a Red Lantern. She has so much rage in her. She also, has been so much darker, especially after, some of her past stuff, but that'll be mentioned with another character down the line. So, I think that this is just, a fun one. Well, she's also in here because of the story, and definitely a Red Lantern. We then have Robin slash Nightwing, and I think he should be in here, mainly because of his relationship with Batman, and, well, he will also have to be confronting Deadman, who is, the former Nightwing. So that will be interesting to see. And let's go to the next one. I chose Red Hood because he was both dead, and he could, be one of the people that gets a Black Lantern since he was revived. They could also, take a little more interesting way in the story. Either way, I think it's going to be fun and interesting to have him in here. I loved having him in Justice 2, and I think it'll be a great inclusion to be put into the main story of this. Okay, Scarecrow was here mainly because I want to play as the Yellow Lantern Scarecrow. Scarecrow was pretty cool in the Injustice 2 game, and I think it would be fun to have him here and be a Yellow Lantern like he was in the comic Blackest Night to play as. I think Aquaman is another character that just needs to be there. He's been in the Injustice games and feels like he's a vital part of it. And I think that's one of the reasons I have him here. There's some I just have because they're vital characters in the story, and some because I think that they'll be fun, and others because I think they'll fit well into the story, as one also think is vital. And the same kind of goes for the next two. Cyborg, I think, is another character that just needs to be part of it, and that's really the reason I have him there. Oh, and then the same goes for Bane. And actually the next one, I couldn't see the next one because it was kind of blocked off. But and the next one has the same reasoning. Black Adam is here because he both feels like a core part of it. But also, one of the choices I made later on will make a little more sense to why I think it's interesting to have him here. Let's go towards the ones that I'm a little more for never good reasons. I put Mirror Master in here because he should still be alive. I think he was pretty badly injured by Bizarro, but he is still alive, and he could be fun with using, portals to go around the map and stuff. That's interesting, it could be fun. And let's go to my next option, which is a unique one I don't think I've seen on anyone's list. I chose Aqualad, who is, well, the Young Justice version, but I believe his name was Jackson Hyde in the comics. And he, well, murdered, like, the president and the entire presidential cabinet during Injustice 2's comics. So, it'd be fun to have in here. And initially I was going to put Mira in, but I just felt like he'd be a little more unique of a fighter, using more of like the water blades and stuff, so I put him in there. And Clayface, honestly, I think he'd just be fun to play as, being, more of a blob that could, go and hit people at different, ways. Honestly, I just think he'd be really fun to play as. He's one of the few characters to put in, because I think it'd just be really fun to play as him. Batmite, well, and Mr. Mxyzptlk. Mainly Mr. Mxyzptlk because he is trapped with, I believe, the Spectre. And with, well, I think it's my next choice. I'm pretty sure it's the next choice, if not, it's a few down. But I think he'd be a really interesting character to play as. But also an alternate for him could be Batmite, since they are basically having the same powers. And honestly, it took forever to find a picture of him. So I'm just using this one. That's why the two are together. But honestly, I think they'd be just a fun character to play as. I also go into that more big cosmic entity thing I was talking about. And since the Spectre's coming, and well, if you read the comics, you know who is coming, I think he has to be there too, since he was trapped with them. Darkseid, honestly, is to be part of that more cosmic entity threat I was talking about. And it'd be interesting to have him in this story and see what he would do. I think it'd be good to be going against these other people in a kind of a side war. happening during the Blackest Night event. And on the top of my head, maybe it could be them, fighting, and then some of them realizing they need to go and take down the villain. And I think you do know who it is if you know Blackest Night, but, well, they could team up and go against them. And you could maybe even play as Darkseid in one of the fights, which would be really interesting. The next one I chose is actually a Injustice original character, Athanasia Al Ghul, which is Batman's daughter and Damian's sister. And she could be just an interesting character because, well, she's Batman's daughter and Damian Wayne's sister. I think she was more villainous in the comics, but might have been like going towards redemption. I don't remember exactly, but I'd put her on the villainous side. She was a little more villainous in the comics. Still, it's just, I think interesting to put her in here. The last two characters I have are, well, Raven, and she's mainly in here to, well, bring back one of the people, which was her goal in Injustice Gods Among Us, and that person, who I've been alluding to a bunch, was also trapped with Mitzi Pitalik and with the Spectre. So let's take a look at who that is finally. And that is, well, the Demon Trigon. And honestly, I think that this would be just such a unique and fun character to play as. It's just so different. And I think this would be just such a, interesting addition. Of course, he's not going to be in his full demon form for this entire game, since he'll be towering over everyone, but he can, shrink down to more person size and do that for the fighting aspect, and him growing large can be part of his super move. I think he's fun, but now let's go take a look at the Black Lanterns. And we're just starting with their leader, Necron, who will be the main boss. And one of those characters where, they'd either pay for him if you want to play him before you beat the campaign, or beat the campaign to unlock him. And it was also pretty hard to find a picture of him, so I don't think it's the best one of him. Most of them I can find that could, wouldn't be super blurry. And then we have Black Hand, and he is Necron's servant in the comics of Blackest Night. So I think he should be here, and he isn't going to be a Lantern fighter. He'll be a little more based off. I don't know exactly how he is in the Green Lantern comics before this, but he'll be fighting more like that. That's because I have a very unique and interesting idea for the Black Lanterns, which you'll be seeing in a few minutes. I then chose Lex Luthor because he was inspirational and will be more of an impact hit on all of the heroes, since some of them were brought back for the impacts to try to turn others into Black Lanterns. And since Lex Luthor's death was very emotional, that's going to be one that will trigger that. But I have the next person choice for the same reason, and that's the Joker. With him causing all of this, he's definitely going to make Superman mad to be fighting against an undead Joker. That'll definitely be pushing Superman to the edge. And then the next one I chose, that's one, because I think it would go good with Black Adam, and I mentioned that earlier. And of course, that one is Shazam. Yeah, so I think it could be interesting to have him in there, and both the fight against Black Adam and the fact that he'll be controlled by Necron, and he'll be forced to be evil, but also, well, when the White Lantern parts, he could come back. And then I have another interesting one. I think Martian Manhunter would be fun to be back. He is dead. He was killed by Superman. I think it was in year 1 when he revealed Batman's identity. He killed Martian Manhunter, was wrecked with Batman. wants to reveal Batman's identity, not Manhunter. You might have just by that. But some of the last choices I have are very unique ones. And I chose, well, Beast Boy because everyone wanted him in the game, and since he is dead, this is probably the one way you can put him in, besides him being DLC. And since I'll have someone moves him fighting to Clayface with transforming, I think it is fine to put him in here. But now it's time to look at my very unique idea that I don't think I've ever seen from anyone before, and that is to have the Black Lantern class, where we'll have 4 main skin characters, maybe more, that being the dead characters of Jim Gordon, Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, and the Nazi Steve Trevor. Honestly, the Nazi Steve Trevor is the one that's most interesting, since in this world, in World War II, Wonder Woman was always kind of corrupted because her version of Steve Trevor actually was a Nazi spy. And honestly, that's just, a really cool part of it. And that's one of the reasons he's just one of them. But also having Lois Lane being back will really hurt Superman. And I mean, I was thinking, yeah, Jimmy Olsen would also hurt, but also having Jim Gordon would hurt both Batgirl and Batman. Finally, looking at, well, DLC, I think Azrael. I remember where I saw it. When I saw it, I was like, that sounds really like a good idea. I don't think it would fit into the story, but it'd be fun DLC. So I put him in DLC. And like there was really like I would even try to like put him towards the side. I was like, DLC is fun for him. Plus you can maybe even have his Nightfall Batman suit. And then I also chose Dr. Manhattan. I chose 2 Watchmen characters because, well, Dr. Manhattan would be OP. And it'd be pretty fun to play as him. I also saw Rorschach on a bunch of lists, and honestly, I think it'd be interesting to play as him. And also to maybe get skins for him. And see if they do similar to, I think, Snyder. They have the kind of moving mask. And I think it'd be truly an interesting add-in. My next conclusion is going to be similar to Darkseid, I think. But also could be teasing the next game, being the Anti-Monitor. And he could be the villain of maybe Injustice 4. But also I think that, honestly, that'd be just such a unique and different type of player in there. It'd be pretty cool to have him. Plus with, his design a little more comic accurate, unlike Crisis on first the Arrowverse, which was cool. But this is different. Okay, I think the Batman Who Laughs both is extremely likely. It'd be really fun, using his chain-based attacks, Rabid Robins, and more. He'd be such a dark and unique character, and maybe even could have an alternate skin for Dr. Manhattan to turn into, well, his final form, but I still think the Batman Who Laughs would be better than having a skin for Dr. Manhattan, and would be a really fun character to play as. And then we have Amazil, and it'd be fun because he could use a mixture of powers from all the other players in the game. And yeah, I kind of just have a comic picture of him that isn't, Triple Sky's extreme. But I could not find a picture for the life of me of him that would fit on here that wasn't blurry. So I've just had to go with this. I was thinking of other Warner Brothers properties to use, and I think that's all the DC characters I have in here. And I was like, oh, it would be so cool if we could get Gandalf in here. He could have, he's both a magician, but he would also have his sword. He's a wizard, and usually similar to our magic using characters, but he'd be so different and unique. It'd be fun. And he'd have, well, probably 3 skins I could think of. Definitely. Gandalf the Grey with a hat, Gandalf the Grey without a hat, and Gandalf the White. But that's just honestly a fun one I thought of, but I've never seen before. And this one is another great one I thought of. Looney Tunes characters instead of the Ninja Turtles. I think Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Porky Pig using giant cartoon weapons would be so fun. And since they're the 3 most recognizable characters, I'd say that's such a great choice. I think it'd be so unique and different. I would love to see that. My, well, second to last choice was John Wick. I kept seeing Neo on lists, so I was like, I don't know, maybe not Neo, but I was like, I put him on, but then I was like, John Wick, yes, we should do that. That'd be so interesting and unique. So I put him on here over Neo, since I like John Wick a little more than The Matrix. And finally, another doing Mortal Kombat guest character. I just chose Johnny Cage because I remember him being popular around the time the movie came out, and people wondering why he wasn't in there. And, well, people were excited over him being in the next Mortal Kombat. So I just chose him. I only chose one Mortal Kombat guest because I'm not a huge fan of the Mortal Kombat games. Although I did get, well, 12, and I had 11 from a while ago. Or no, I got 11, then I got 10 from a while ago. 12 is supposed to be coming out soon. But yeah, this is my Justice 3 cast list. I think they would all be pretty well together. The main story would follow, both the cosmic clash between big cosmic entities, and that could be, also setting up a story for Justice 4 possibly with Crisis on Infinite Earths being there. But also, the main story would be, of course, Blackest Night. And honestly, I think this would be such a unique and interesting set of characters. And the story could be very interesting. I think how these characters would interact together would be so fun. And honestly, I really like this. This video is, yeah. I'm glad I kind of went through each character quickly. That's probably going to be either just the outro. 32, maybe 33, let's go 33 minutes already, basically, and maybe finish this with maybe 34 minutes, and if I spent time going kind of in depth, this would be over an hour long, so glad you didn't do that. But I think this would be such a unique, fun, interesting way to have the game. I think 52 players would definitely be groundbreaking. It would be hard, but so fun and, well, unique. And I just wonder what you think. Do you like this selection? What would you change? What would you keep the same? And I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.